Woo! Welcome to your reading. Just finished an amazing one. And let's do one more. Thank you for your patience. I'm trying to catch up because January was a time where December 22nd and January 22nd was a time where I was able to do 3 or 4 readings. I was in America and it totally screwed a lot up. So now I'm really trying to catch up to the best of my abilities. So let's get everything pulled up, why don't we? All right, we got an Antares rising here. So I've been a good part of the last one, I just like had my camera off. I don't know why, I just felt cool and liked it. So yeah. And then a lot of it I had it on. So I don't know. Maybe it helps with intuition to not be on camera sometimes. I have no fucking idea why. I do shit, but I do shit. I be doing shit. So you're a youngin from Berkeley. So just remember that I know nothing about you. I know that we've talked before, but you know, purposely, I think that the wait list creates a time where, it's essentially impossible for me to remember like everyone I've talked to, and everyone that spoke with me, which is what I want, because I want complete um in one quick second. Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. It's a family thing. God damn it. My freaking keyboard. My phone is like, okay. Okay. Boom. Okay. We're good. We good. Wait. Okay. Last pause, I promise. Mm. Okay, complete. Anyways. So here, oh my God, no fucking way. Are you kidding me? How is this possible? There's no way. I have two North Node conjunct Plutos in a row in the 12th house, I mean. That's insanity. Wow. And 22-degree moon. Whew. I swear, this is insane. And you have Royal Antares on your ascendant. You have Aldebaran on your descendant. Oh, whoa. And the nebula is close to midheaven, but it's not a real star. But what else? You have blah 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 and you blah blah blah. No. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Well, where do I start? Sun square moon. Okay. So first of all, your sun is conjunct the fucking vertex. So this is like a turbocharged um this is like a turbo this is crazy, like the two charts that I've done in a row. Like what the fuck? Like that is insane. So the vertex is super faded, right? Um and when you have it conjunct your sun, you know it's a big time lifetime, right? When you have the North Node in Scorpio in the 12th house conjunct Pluto, you know it's a massive lifetime, right? Like this is like huge deal. You know me, or I don't like hyperbolize, which is I think why people believe me when I say big statements, right? Like I don't hyperbolize. I need to turn my freaking text turn off. Okay, good. So yeah, Sun exact conjunction with vertex. Look at that, 23 Cancer. Um, Basically, it's in the eighth house too, which is insane, right? Because your south node is in Taurus. So wow, classic. I already know this chart by heart. I can do it with my eyes closed. But you have a karmic tendency to kind of be, how do you say it? Taking the peaceful route in life, right? And being kind of, you know, um, how do you say it? Like taking the peaceful route and not really taking risks, spiritual risks, emotional risks. Now, the nodes are trying the sun, which I just had someone with the nodes conjunct with sun, which is obviously more powerful, but you are someone, it was in the same house, so it's just crazy. But like regardless, you're someone who's benefited from power. One sec. From powerful um like kind of connections, right, with other people, right? You've really benefited from those. Um, so when you have a South Node Taurus, you are someone who, you've lived a chill life, past lives, right? There's no squares. I mean, there's nothing that I like look at. I'm like, okay, past like karma or trauma, right? Kind of the opposite. It's like someone who was good materially, who just live the good life, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that at a certain evolutionary point, there's a need, and you have Black Moon Lilith in Taurus too, so it's like that is kind of like how your self-defeating potential can be being stubborn and not taking enough risks and being too much in the material world and too obsessed with like kind of like external possessions as opposed to the higher energy of Taurus, which is internal like values that you kind of subscribe to, right? So that's that. Now another thing with Black Moon Lilith and Taurus is, yeah, there can be sometimes like an overcompensation when it comes to money, and like a lack of self-esteem. So there's like a big need to kind of find your spiritual identity, because that's what's really important to you, right? Now your moon is very close to Spica too, I must say. It's not smack, but it's close. So moving forward, because one of the 5 best stars, and you have 2 of them on angles, and 1 on your ascendant, and I only look at like exact conjunctions. So basically, you have a life that is very run by fate, right? Fate plays a huge role in your life, and especially when it comes to whether you're able to kind of like you and diving into kind of your own darkness, right? Vertex conjunct Sun, it makes it kind of relatively easy to be an important person, and it creates a large self-esteem that can be very attractive to other people, attract people to you. And it makes someone usually like pretty good at like taking like positive risks, and being a good leader. So, and with that said, it's in the 8th house, so it's like your doorway to higher awareness is conjunct the highest energy of Cancer. So the highest energy of Cancer in the 8th house is someone who, like, this is such an obvious chart to me from this standpoint, right? It's like South Node Taurus, like I said, tendency to live the good life. I always think of Costa Rica for some reason, just living on the beach, but not really taking any risks, not really, or like kind of like a rich life, like just kind of, where you've, because of your circumstances, you've sidelined your spiritual development, right? So with that said, now let me see if there's 25th. No. I mean, yeah, it's opposite Pluto, so yeah. But basically, some extent, Scorpio is about death, rebirth, transformation. That's what you're trying to get to. In order to get there, you kind of need to get pushed sometimes. So if you're always living, think about someone who just lives like a nice, chill life, right? Perfect family, perfect golden retriever, whatever the fuck, Now, I'm not saying there's no chance you grew up with that. I mean, you do have a 4th house Saturn, and you have Sun square Moon. So I would, if I had to bet money, I'd say your parents are divorced. Or if they're not divorced, having some like big differential between their kind of life philosophies, let's just call it, the way that the kind of like main lessons they embed to you. But with that said, it also gives lots of motivation. I also have Sun square Moon. My parents are divorced. So, but it's not like a science. I've met people with Sun square. Like I had a client from Dubai a few weeks ago, and she had it, and her parents were in a silent divorce. She called it, where they were still married, but it was basically like they're divorced. There's just like more of a cultural shame around divorce. Um, so so much fate coming into your life, right? With the sun and vertex. And I think with your with your life journey, like I say, it could literally I didn't say this, but it could bring fame, you know, like with your life journey, there's so much fate that's meant to really, really teach you about yourself. Um, and I was talking about yeah, about Cancer. So the highest energy of Cancer is not running, it's having a spiritual relationship with yourself. It's also very family based, as you know, right? But it's in the eighth house. So you know, Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon is emotions. So for you in this lifetime, you're really like meant to go the opposite direction in past lives and to lean 1000% outside of the material world and into the spiritual world, into the world of healing, into the world of shadow work, right? So it's not always gonna be sexy, it's not always gonna be beautiful, but it's a very, you know, like important lifetime for you. And fame is possible. I mean, I don't say that often, but you know, it is. What is this? Let's see. Seven? Seven? No. Nope. 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 You're one planet. Wait. Wait. Ooh. Hold on. Mercury, Jupiter. Ooh, yeah, that one. Saturn. So there's a water grand trine. You see Saturn, Mercury, Jupiter. And I was like, damn, she could nearly have a Star of David, which is like I had one the other week. And I was like, whoa, my fucking God. But unfortunately, it would require you to have had one of these planets at like or a different planet at like I don't know anywhere from let's call it like 0 to um eh, actually you know what like it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work because you can't. I wouldn't use the south node. I wouldn't use the south node. Excuse me for picking my nose. I don't pick my nose. I just scratch. It's like allergies. But yeah. So it looks like a star, but not there. Um, and is there a mystic rectangle, Pluto? Okay, here and there up. There's there a trine. Yep. And then there's sextile. Yeah. I need to ask this question. Like, because I wonder what other people are saying. Let me camera back on. I'm curious what other astrologers are saying about using the nodes. Do you use the nodes in Of course, there's probably gonna be no answers. Oh, here I think I found it. the question on Reddit, but there's gonna be no answers. This is Reddit thing. It's like, would you count the nodes or Chiron? Why would they? That's a stupid question. Because of course I count Chiron, but not like one person said. I would say nodes, yes, the Chiron, because the nodes are not points, right? So they're imaginary points. So, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but then in Black Moon is too. So, the node, it kind of fucks with your mystic rectangle, to be honest, fortunately. So let me move all these out of the way. Just planets. Okay, so that's a square. And then Saturn. Opposite is that, what's it called? No, that's not a square. Oh. And the Grand Cross. Saturn ascendant, Mars, Venus, / Chiron. So I found a Grand Cross, which is okay. And then there's a mini Grand Shrine. And yeah, anyways, okay. Well, so mini Grand Shrine is with Mercury, Jupiter, Venus. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. Okay, so first of all, let's back up. I just need to get that in my head. But the chart itself is very, very interesting. Let me pull up these planets back again. We're not you can't really use, I mean, look, I'm not going to use an imaginary point, the nodes or Black Moon Lilith in an aspect, or the vertex in the aspect pattern. I just can't do it. It would give you a mystic rectangle. I just can't do it. Yeah, it really screws you over not having the um the Earth, even like, yeah, like that third Earth. But I mean, not really. It doesn't screw you over. It's kind of a little wrong lingo there, but it just makes it so there's less aspect patterns. But anyways, I digress. So the Saturn Venus opposition is very important. And so, okay, so yeah. So anyways, this chart is like the perfect example of just a chart that of someone who's being pushed towards like major spiritual transformation, right? And basically, you see having an eighth house sun, I have that too, by the way. You are living many lifetimes within this lifetime, which is why I always tell people who have that, like, move the fuck away from where you're from, because it can get stressful. It can get stressful. No. I don't know. It's not like you have to, but like you have to have really strong boundaries, which is another like karmic challenge. Not challenge, not challenge, but it's a karmic like goal, because you feel things very, very deeply, and you're very like intense person. I mean, you're born, anyone that's younger than me that's gets readings, I always like I'm not like an astrologer that's like, I can't think of any examples, but like, I'm not Mr. like, butterflies and rainbows. Like, I say it how the fuck it is. Like, I feel like people intuitively, when they get a reading from me, they know that it's going to be, extremely accurate, extremely deep, but I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat anything. Um, so I think it's the people who are, I'm born 1990. I just always have a lot of respect and love for the people who are, younger than me, getting readings from me, because it's just so great. No, not, that much younger, but you get the sentiment. Um, so basically, eighth house sun, you go through many lifetimes within this lifetime. Um, and the reason like old friends, people you grew up with, if you're kind of still living in the same place, it's very common for the eighth house person to really outgrow them. And I know for girls that's like less, it's not like such a big deal, right? Like, um because that just happens with girls. Girls are able to have, communication around emotions with their friends. So yeah. But still, it can very much be the case where you outgrow your old life, but the old life still kind of pulls at you to kind of like be this older version of you, because, people get kind of put off when some people get put off when other people grow, and they want the old version of that person back, and like fuck, the other person's like, fuck the old version, not fuck, but just it's not me anymore. Um, so that's just a rand thing, but I'm not giving you any advice to move. I'm just saying that like I've seen it work out in my life and in a lot of people's life. Um, but yeah, like you will be able to like divide your life into these very, very specific and epic eras that are so distinct one from the other, where it can almost feel like it was an actress playing you. That's how crazy different they are. I know everyone goes through big, different phases, but the eighth house person, because you add that Plutonian death rebirth transformation element to it, there's a extra added level of intensity. And sometimes there's some drama in the sense of like the death isn't always pretty. Um, Often it's not. So Vertex being there once again, like your doorway to higher awareness is through eighth house, is the gates, the esoteric, the untold, the unknown are wide open to you. And then you have Jupiter in 12th house, which gives you spiritual protection and almost like a lantern or a flashlight, if you will, metaphorically speaking, in these arenas, right? So you're able to traverse into deep spiritual lands, unknown areas, and be protected while also gaining a natural depth and understanding, as Jupiter in Scorpio is a very, very powerful placement. And we'll get into what it means to you karmically, but it's a big, big fucking deal. Now I digress. So not only is the eighth house is the house of Scorpio, the North Node in astrology relates to the mountain never climbed in past lives. I based a lot of my readings off North Node and Pluto. I was just literally telling my last client that it's very rare that I have someone who has their North Node conjunct Pluto, especially in the 12th house, which she literally had. And I was gonna write a post about, and I was like double confirmation I need to do it. I base a lot of my readings off these 2 points, and they're usually like not together, right? So you have them together, especially in a sign like Scorpio, it's a double whammy of like, okay, we for sure fucking know what the karmic purpose of this lifetime is. So a lot of it is about moving into the uncomfortable, moving away from just like what is known, what is familiar, because it won't feel as good, it won't feel like it'll feel like that article I wrote. I don't know if you read it, called stuck in your are you stuck in your south node, right? Because south node is not a bad thing. It just refers to your karmic, your karmic, kind of like tendency, right? And that's kind of overstayed its welcome. You've had enough, been there, done that. So, yeah, like it's just crazy because like I said, like this is all about death and birth transformation, and your North Node is literally like your destiny mark, right? Pluto is kind of like that too, but it's more where there's darkness, And I'll talk about 12th house Pluto. It's super, 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 super like intense, like spiritual placement. You're here to transform and really change, and you have Jupiter there too, which gives you that awareness and that ability to have that larger that kind of mountaintop view of that whole process. So I continue. So change is a big theme for you and something you need to learn to embrace, and you need to learn to surrender. Going from seeing the physical value of something, material value of something, to the metaphysical value is a massive, massive life goal. And being of service is very, very important. Now, your life, like I said, is a very fated life. And if you are a leader of some sort, that's great. But the vertex conjunct sun could also just refer to the fact that all of these very intense experiences that you go through that lead to your biggest ego deaths, that then lead to usually a period of kind of looking at yourself and shadow work, and then that leads to rebirth. Those are very fated, meant to be. So yeah. Now I see tons of healer aspects, but later. So okay. Okay. So basically, yeah. So I just want to make that connection before I go into Libra Moon Sun in Cancer. That high Cancer is low Cancer is a crab that crawls into its shell and is afraid to confront, to be vulnerable and to confront its emotions, blah blah blah. That's low Cancer, victim mentality, emotional manipulation, playing baby, all that shit. High Cancer feels a little bit from their opposite sign Capricorn, and becomes their own emotion, like their own metaphoric, not emotional, their own metaphoric mother, a nurturer. So sometimes with the moon, square Neptune and Uranus, there's a potential of, well, actually both parents with the oppositions making, very interesting. But with the moon is usually the mom. So with the mom specifically, perhaps she wasn't very present. Right. Now that's not an automatic, but moon square Neptune is very, very important. How you were nurtured, has a massive, massive influence on you more than other kids, right? In the developmental years, because a negative emotion your mother had, you would have taken it on, and it can be your entire life. Like even now, that you could be hanging on to some shame, some guilt, some type of, like, especially if there's like any abuse, like with your sun square moon, that's saying that there's probably some kind of discord in the relationship, whether it was like ugly, or just based on their core principles not aligning at all, and a divorce, whatever, or if there's no divorce, I don't know. But like the point is that um on some level you um need to understand that your emotions can be very, very, very skewed, and that there can be an identity crisis, and the way to heal that is to go in to the emotions, go into the emotions, go into service, right? But service slash the spiritual relationship with the self, spirituality. It's just all over your chart. It's like 10 out of 10 spiritual chart. It's like this person has learned a lot of material goals. Um, so it's time for them to really get into their shadow because they're ready. And using your South Node in Taurus is like using that inner groundedness that you have, right? That inner base to do the tough work. That work looks different from person to person. My last client, it was really showing up a lot in her relationships. That was where it was showing up. We'll see for what I find here. But I think it's the same because Chiron conjunct Venus. Wow. So anyways, yeah. So that is just super, super, super interesting. Sun 8th house, North Node, conjunct Pluto. You are meant to feel like to really go into your darkest hidden emotions. And Pluto in the 12th house, at the end of the day, karmically, it is about Saturn is kind of the material reality that we all know, right? And the metaphor I give for Pluto in 12th house is jumping off the metaphoric rock of Saturn, right, into the infinite ocean of Neptune, right? Now, I don't know if you've cliff jumped, um, you know, even if it's your friends do it before you see it's safe, you check underneath, whatever, no big rocks. It's still not it's still weird, it's still like kind of an awkward process. So that's a metaphor for the spiritual process. So going further, you know, that is a massive leap. This is like kind of enlightenment. So is Saturn retrograde? Where is Saturn? It is, yes. So that's interesting. I'm seeing some trends. So this life, heavy karma, but it's also kind of like a do-over in a sense, right? But like it makes perfect sense. My last client, and I think like doing these back to back, which was not in order, by the way. Like, I mean, like it wasn't like completely out of order, but it was like I could have easily done someone else's chart before hers, which would have been completely different, So just so wild, the synchronicities. But so Saturn retrograde, you are like, it makes perfect sense because this is such a huge karmic impetus that it would make sense that you're kind of reliving. It's kind of your like reliving a lifetime in a sense, right? With respect to this super insane karma, right? So I wouldn't have any shame around that. But yeah, you've been working on this. Planets conjunct the North Node also represent energies that you've been working on in past incarnations, like recent ones. So you've been working on this like kind of enlightenment kind of journey. So with that said, um, much ground to cover. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out, that this is super interesting and that there's a huge emphasis on emotions and yeah, and yeah, there's a grand trine. I'd give that a water grand trine. I mean, it's 8 degrees, Saturn, trine Mercury, Jupiter. So yeah, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter. I swear I just had the same one. It wasn't in water. But yeah, that is really good for intelligence. So okay, we might as well just talk about your Mercury. I should probably wait. But it's very, very, very strong, which is like about intelligence. Mercury is your brain, but it's really, really, really strong. But let's talk. Okay, so Libra Moon, it's obviously squaring your sun, as I said many times. Exact degree, right? It's less than a degree off. So what's super interesting about this configuration is that the moon is square Uranus and Neptune, and the sun is opposite. Why? Because of the configuration. So it creates a massive T-square. You see, 23 is the sun. You're still able to see this, right? Okay. So 23 Cancer is the sun. It's opposite these two, right? You see that here. It's obviously opposite these two at 21, 24. This is Neptune and Uranus. Uranus is the closest. And of course, it's square the moon. So that is a T-square that shoots out. It's like a bow and arrow, as you can see. You can't see because there's so many aspects or like lines in the way, but you can kind of see like the duh, the duh, and then the duh, and then the duh. So it shoots out like a bow and arrow into 22 Aries, which is your 5th house. So interesting. So what's the meaning of all this, right? So Sun in Cancer, square Moon in Libra. Cancer's very different than Libra. Libra is in a moon sign is not that emotional, or it's not that in touch. Air moons are not that in touch with their emotions. It doesn't make them unemotional, right? So it creates more of a challenge for you to get in touch with your emotions. With that said, it does square Neptune. So I actually once dated a Libra moon who had a square with Neptune, and she was very much in touch with kind of like the the kind of like overriding zeitgeist and kind of emotions of the time, right? Okay. So and she was definitely an emotional person for sure. Anyways, so kind of gives you a little Piscean vibe, especially when integrated. But just these two. One of them wants to stay in and meditate all day, basically, and it's way more of a homebody, way more introverted, sixth to self, Cancer. And Libra is very, very social. It's very, very, it's in the house of friends, of communication. So you have one part of you that's a split, psychological split. I do astrological counseling. I have 2 masters in psychology. So, a lot of times I do work with clients in that respect who have splits like this. And basically, like, it's about how can you feed both mouths, right? Um, and the Cancer mouth is about emotional nurturance and everything I've explained already. related to the transformation and feeling the emotions and allowing surrender and death, rebirth, all that stuff. Now, the Libra side is like, okay, that's chill and all, but I need to have some fun, and I need to have some relationships, and I need to experience beauty as the core component of my lifetime of my life, right? And more. There's more than just that. But basically, it's very communicative. Um one's really, really deep, one's not that deep. So now it is close to Spica, which is like, let's see how close. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful star. Yeah, it's a degree from Spica. So you're lucky. You have your moon conjunct Spica. So that's like a very, very and I'll talk about that, but like it's like you have a lot of like the most important fixed stars like playing a huge role. Um so mm, 1 second, by the way. So yeah, there's lots of lessons involving your family, and just like kind of nurturance and all that stuff. Um, there can be lots of like emotional outbreaks and kind of like intense emotions, like with kind of like a lot of this energy. Um, so for example, um, one, I'm talking now kind of like vertex, like opposite, like how it squares your moon. It can um create just a difficult kind of karma with your mother or whoever the moon represents in your chart. Usually it's the mother. Um, and there's a need to like improve emotional conditions with, with her and just with females in your life in general, right? And you can find difficulty like kind of feeling settled like emotionally. Um, but when you're able to be of service and tap into that side that I've been talking about, it makes all of that better. And yeah. So I was talking about, okay, so where does everything get felt? Well, actually, Venus conjunct Venus, self-love, which equals outer love in Virgo, which is difficult, conjunct Chiron. So that is huge. So relationships will probably have been, and it's an area where a lot of the pain is felt, right? I must say Pluto in the 12th house also does create some real feelings, some real tough feelings, some real tough feelings around um like hidden fears, but it really is like the high priest, it can create someone who's just like the leader behind closed doors. Um, yeah, like I said, drawn deeply into like a psychic quest. And yeah, it's such an interesting placement. And the cool thing is that it like lots of actors have it, lots of politicians, and it gives you this ability to really like with the Jupiter to really pick up on like what's hidden that other people can't feel. So you have to learn to like really follow your gut and your intuition, because it's usually spot on. Probably always, like, yeah. If you can learn to differentiate intuition from imagination, and really break down self-limiting beliefs that can be created from that Virgo energy, which we'll talk about in just a second. That's huge. Now, but then, you have to watch out. So with the moon in sun, you have to watch out for isolating too much. There has to be a good balance between like socializing and then going in your own energy. But ultimately, it's in your own energy that you will discover the most, and that a lot of your highest life purpose. Not that you're meant to be a fucking loner. That's not what I'm saying. You wouldn't have Antares rising and speak on your moon in that case. But you need to spend more time alone in this lifetime than you did in previous ones. That's what I'm saying. Now, SPICA, conjunct the moon, right? Because I need to add this in, right? This is super important. Spica is just like a beautiful, like amazing star. And when it conjuncts your moon, it's very fortunate. And it basically brings success, oftentimes wealth. And it can really make the person like very, very like distinguished. I've always seen Spica as just classy. I don't know, lucky. There's just something to them, they just have this something. It's the best place you can have um best degree of Libra, right? So very splendid and illustrious life, they say. And very philosophical, inspired by like the arts and the mysteries, and just intelligent. So yeah. So that's kind of adding to that, is that it gives lots of passions as well. And yeah, it adds a very philosophical energy to Libra moon that usually isn't like that. So that's really cool. Okay, so moving forward, so with this crazy T-square, so breaking everything down, right? So sun opposite, I'll go back on camera. I know. So sun, um, so sun square moon we get, right? The feminine masculine parts of you are at odds, and there needs to be like that reconciliation and learning to feed both mouths. There's that tension, but when they come together, and just overall, like I said, I have this. It gives you a chip on your shoulder. You feel like you want to fucking prove yourself, and like everything in your life is very, very faded. If your parents did divorce, I mean, it's faded. Everything is fucking faded, right? Not everything, but yeah. So with this crazy T-square, and I haven't even touched on your Antares rising. With this crazy T-square, and when I say crazy, I don't mean that negatively. Just Uranus and Neptune are involved. So when Uranus and Neptune are opposite, well, let's start with the moon. So I already talked about Neptune square moon. So okay, how about sun opposite Neptune, right? That can create, so both like having both of your sun and moon hard aspect by both of these with Neptune, like with the sun opposition, it can make it so you like allow other people to tell you how to live your life, and there's like a lack of confidence, losing your identity, that type of thing, right? like not wanting to upset other people, lacking boundaries, especially early on. So the goal is to kind of like find like a creative, artistic outlet, right? And to use your sensitive nature to your own benefit and to the benefit of other people. And to do that without losing yourself, like for example, you're with a client in some kind of healing establishment, relationship, and you take on too much of their stuff. Like I've heard a few people with this aspect say, like, I could never do what you do, but be a therapist because like, I would just like I can't, like my girlfriend says that. She has Mercury square Neptune. Actually, like a lot of my girlfriends have said that. It's weird. I thought too, but it's more than one. Um, so yeah. It's important to spend time on your own and once again to dive deep into spirituality and through service and spirituality. I can repeat this 1,000 times. Through that metaphoric dive into the infinite waters of Neptune, you find that oneness, and through that oneness, you find your identity. And when it comes to relationships, there's that tendency to potentially want just perfection. But what you're doing, and maybe or what you were doing, I don't know where you're at, and we'll talk in the follow up where you're at, and you should take notes on every single thing I'm talking about. So we, you know, we like for the follow up, it's important that I mean it's your choice how serious you want to take this, but I'm giving you like the best reading you're ever going to possibly get. It's impossible to get better reading this possible. Basically with Chiron conjunct Venus, like in Virgo, you can expect too much from your partner. I'm kind of just throwing this in there, and then I'm going to talk more about it later. So you can talk too much about your partner, or not talk too much about your partner. You can expect that you be way too idealistic about like the perfect partner, and there be lots of disappointments in love. So that's already an area where you can experience it. Now at the same time, that also it's in the 10th house, and it can speak to you being meant to be a healer, right? Okay, carry on. What I was saying before. So with the sun in T square, right? In this T square, we understand the Neptune can make you feel like you're losing yourself and like you don't know how to identify yourself. There's this fog that comes up, especially when you're going like in your south node, kind of like materialistic, like staying the same, afraid of change type way, right? There's fated events that happen, go with them. Now, with Uranus, right? So Uranus square moon is interesting. It definitely makes a stubborn, rebellious person who can have very erratic emotions. Sometimes they want to stand out so much from the crowd that they'll go to like just like they'll go too far, Um, but it's also super psychic. Um, so learning to see from different perspectives is the key. And you're a very exciting person naturally. You're someone who can accept change very well, which is awesome for a Cancer. It's not every Cancer that's able to do that. Uh, like change in terms of like living situation, and this would actually be beneficial for like probably like I don't know if your parents got divorced. That'd be so crazy if you're like, yeah, they're actually super 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 happily married. So yeah. You're like, this is all wrong. You suck. Um, it's really about learning to view all aspects of life from that intuitive place, right? Because you have these antennas. It's about knowing that they're there. Um, Sun Uranus is interesting because it does create a very impulsive, unpredictable kind of person. They can piss off very traditional people. They always want to rebel. So this is another theme with like the Uranus with the sun and the moon. The hard aspect is that you know, everyone wants, like, especially Cancer wants like that solidity in life, that security. But with the Uranus hard aspects, if they feel bogged down, like in relationships or in any area of life, work, whatever the fuck, like they will just be like, fuck this shit, like out of here, you know? So yeah, sometimes like there's just such a like um you know, such a will that and stubbornness that can like kind of push one back from achieving their goals. Also Sun Uranus in general, like a lot, like oftentimes they have you have a very specific life purpose. So sometimes it takes time to figure that out, you know? But yeah, it's about finding like the balance between your own original identity and the needs of other people, right? Okay. Capiche, 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 capiche. So with the T, so we understand how they're both kind of playing out, right? I mean, Uranus can create like a grass is always greener type scenario when it squares the moon. Neptune, you know, I've said enough about like, you know, the fog and all that. But they're both super fucking intuitive. Like another thing about the Uranus is that it gives like the moon compulsive need for stimulation, right? Um, you know, drawn to anything new, right? So you can be in a relationship, it gets boring a tiny bit, over, right? Um, but yeah. I've seen this in a lot of like divorced uh or kids whose parents were divorced who moved to different places and they had to kind of move around a lot. I did as a kid, but it also made me like the way I'm a Sag Moon, but and I'm half French, more French than American. But yeah, like you know, it's just like you want to stand out in the crowd a lot, but usually there's like also like like a very like kind of like unorthodox upbringing and yeah, so you get it. You're different, you're a rebel, and but you're also like, you know, very humanitarian, you know, and very psychic and very very talented and very unconventional. um so when you put all these together, um you put all these together when you put all of these together in the T square bone arrow shoots out in Leo. Leo is the sign of the inner child. It's your fifth house. Wait, wait. Yes. It shoots out in Aries, I meant to say, but it's in the fifth house of Leo. So fire. Schmire. So the resolution of this is a mix of Aries is about assertiveness and it's about being independent, right? Um, with that kind of inner struggle for individualism from like the sun opposite, you know, Uranus, and just how this also relates to like the relationship with the parents too, you know, kind of how like the need for that independence, and that being your own person can really kind of be at odds with other you know, areas in your life or kind of like pillars of your life. You know, that Aries energy is brave and it's just like, let's fucking go, right? So Libra moons can have a tendency to be people pleasers. It's just the way it is. You do have it on SPICA. You're very lucky. I've told you 1,000 times, maybe a million other times. Hold on. One second. Excuse me. Excuse me, madam. Hold on. What time is Mercury go retrograde? Okay, I found it. It is at wow. It's conjunct with Moon. Hold on. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Okay, so the dates are. Why is it not giving me a time? Where's the chart? There has to be a chart. Okay, here it is. Um, it is. Oh, sunscreen. Yes. 20 April. So what day is it today? 21, 21, 21. Okay, so it's in like it's at it's 4:30 here, and it's at 4:30 New York time, which is 7 hours. So 4 plus 7 is 7 plus 4. Did you know that? Isn't that crazy? No, but yeah, so okay, so it's like 11. So yeah, like okay, back to reading. All right. Feeling like so like positive about this Mercury retrograde. Like I feel like it's just gonna give me superpowers. I'm already feeling them. Like these are very challenging charts. Like yours and the one I did before. Just fucking. I was gonna say something really weird. Not weird. Just like way too far. But anyways, okay. So, yeah, I mean, that's rough. You know, your moon, you want to feel comfortable, and you know, those squares, it's tough, right? With the sun, square moon, I mean, feed both mouths, figure out a way, you know, and we'll talk about in the follow-up, and hopefully you add dare I say this, confounding sessions, but and did I check? I don't think I wait, what the fuck did I write? Okay. So I did not write. Check notes. It was good. But yeah, okay. So you got the reading and follow up. Nearly everyone adds the current astrology. I don't think I said it. I think I said it in my last session. Current astrology / spiritual alignment. I would give you a big reduction for that. And instead, basically, the follow up is 1 hour on Zoom about this, only about the natal chart, right? The natal chart never changes. You can watch this in 10 years, it's gonna be the same. You'll be like, holy shit. Like I've grown so much, you know? Now, current astrology is always changing. So it's very important to understand, like, you know, what's happening. And it's also spiritual, it's called current astrology spiritual alignment, because I'm a lot more than just a fucking astrologer. Okay. I'm a healer, in way more ways. I have two psychology masters, but like really, you know, I don't even need that to do what I do in those sessions. It's a lot of astrology using all the predictive tools I know, but really it's honestly it's the connection. It's the connection mixed with the tools, but I think it's the connection. You know, I think like if I had zero astrology, it wouldn't be as magical, but it would still be magical, you know, because we talk for 3 hours. First hour follow up, and then hour 2, 3, sometimes goes a little bit longer, is current astrology. And we just find a date and time that works for both of us. It's not a long wait like this one was. It's like literally like next available date I have. And yeah, you already have the follow up. So yeah, just let me know if you're interested. Um, let me know. And yeah, usually it is like 380 or something like that. So I decided that now I will offer it to returning clients for 260. So yeah, you'll have to remind me, and that's that. Anyways, or you can just get the follow-up. Your choice, no pressure. Okay, so I continue. But I'm super curious to hear how this plays out. It's crazy. Um, so yeah, honestly, like with Uranus and Neptune, it's like leaning into the high energy of both of them. Find the identity of Neptune through spirituality and service, and you know, just everything, emotional intelligence, intuitive intelligence, and Uranus, by accepting your individuality, right? Now, when we talk about self-acceptance, we can't forget the fact that you have Venus conjunct Chiron opposite Saturn. That's going to come next. The resolution point, as I was saying, Aries and in the 5th house, right? And I can show this to you like this. You see it, I think I already showed you. It shoots out, but, 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 shoots out right around here. Doesn't matter. But 5th house is about creativity, and so the inner child. It's also about children. Um, and it yeah, so it could be through having kids that a lot of this in these entangled kind of issues resolve. But it's really from having fun and from finding creative outlets. And also Aries is a sign, it's the first sign. It's can be a bit childish. I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean in a good way. Um, and it can be very pioneering. Just go, and very, very assertive and dominant. And dominant is not good, but um, it's asking you to lean into your fire, which brings me to the only fire in your chart, your ascendant, conjunct one of the four royal stars, Antares, the king of the underworld. Look at that, 8.49 and 9.41. It is within a degree. That is gangsta. Literally, it's gangsta because Antares is like Pablo Escobar, kind of very controversial, but it's not necessarily bad. I don't know why I just let me going. Let me just like memorize real quick, like just like what important. Is I don't know. Wow, so you have Karma conjunct Saturn. Oh no, no, you don't. You have a okay, never mind. Mm, okay, there's so much to talk about. Okay, yeah, and then you have Aldebaran Descendant, Mars conjunct Aldebaran also, can't forget that. It's not, no, it's always close. I'm the blade that asteroid angel. Fuck is honest. Oh shit. That's the black moon. That's the Lilith. Wow. So it's like a VXX. That's actually a different dark moon. Walnuts. That's I forget the fucking pronunciation. And then on fucking show me. What is this? No. Oh, is it series? No, it's not. Show me what A16 is. Industrial. Okay. So industrial. Okay. Mid-heaven anything. Eden. Chiron. In the midpoint. Okay. Interesting. So the sun moon point is on the Chiron. Interesting. Okay. So, okay. So let's get rid of these. Um, okay. So let me go back to just your boy's face. Did I mention I when you do two readings back to back, you forget what you said in one from the other. But did I mention in yours that I have no fucking idea what you look like? I purposely do that. Um, and then if I even have a mental image that comes in, I just delete it because I'm like, it's probably just reminding me of someone who has a similar name or who, you know, whatever. So yeah. And that's so I'm super. I wrote an article about it that I'll probably release. I don't know. I mean, let's see how many likes I got on my, or not just likes, but my reach on my post today is fucking pathetic. Wow. I haven't checked my Instagram in like so long, and then yeah, that's just like 335 like on like a post that should have like it's not likes are just an indication of um it's just an indication, right? My reach, how many people of my followers actually just like saw it or like you know had it pop up on their feed, like less than 5,000, 5,600. Like that's and my followers only four like less than 5,000, and they're all my followers are real. So I just get like randomly shadow banned. So it sucks. It sucks, but you know I don't trip. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, put this down. So anyway, so as I continue to speak, um, so basically, yeah, Antares rising people are very powerful, but sometimes they have to watch out for taking too many risks. Also, do not seek revenge. I want to chewing to, or there's no tobacco. Ouch. Um, so do not seek revenge because people will be jealous of you, and especially you know lots of parts of your chart. But you know, Antares rising people, you know, riches, honor. It's very good for sports, just like physical. Um, it can be violent. It can be controversial, and it's very very strategic. Daredevils, right? So watch out for the eyes, but lots of mental alertness. They're on this shit, you know. Um, it is, you know, a very very just illustrious life. Um, a lot of times Antares people, but then you have Aldebaran too, so it kind of balances out. They don't really come from necessarily money, but they're fighters. It's just like they are fucking fighters, right? And you don't want them as your fucking enemies. Very big minded, like almost like chess players. Like they see like they plan the moves carefully, you know? So yeah. Um, so it's about leaning into that part of your chart, right? Leaning into that Antares Sag rising, which is, you know, Sag rising on its own. Jupiter rules your chart. Um, you know, Jupiter in your chart is in the 12th house. So once again, the more that you can lean into your kind of karmic, you could also think of it as like your karmic closet where you just stuff everything in this lifetime. You're having to kind of like deal with this shit, you know? Just like the more you can yeah, just like explore the unconscious realms. I said in last reading, making the unknown or the unconscious conscious, what I said. Um, the more you can do that, the better. And it's gonna just the more awareness you can bring overall, the better. But like Scorpio, Jupiter is like intense search for truth, you know, deep, deep probing, um, in the psychological kind of energetic realm, spiritual realm. And Jupiter 12th house people, they have this like they seek the meaning of life from like deep within themselves, you know, very, very contemplative. and it's like the worst moments of life, they're able to like open up this well of optimism and see the bigger picture, right? And SPICA moon, I told you already. It's just amazing. Here's Esme. Maybe she's getting my new shirt. Oh, cat furry. She has to be on my lap. Little Cancer baby. Like you. You're Cancer. So okay. So moving forward, then there's your Mars is on an angle, which it's in Gemini. So Gemini Mars, your words are your weapons. It's on the Descendant, which can give someone a very investors there too. So like a very big drive for relationships sometimes in women's charts. Although I haven't seen some evidence of this, but they say that a woman is often attracted to Mars sign, Gemini. But it just means that like your lover has to be your best friend, and there has to be that deep level of communication and intellectual stimulation. Because remember, the Uranus can get bored easily. So your descendant being Gemini makes total sense. And then Mars there makes you have like a strong drive towards relationships. But you have Mars square Saturn, which is another one that's difficult for the first 30 years. When's your Saturn return? Your Saturn returns, oh shit. Okay, so whatever I said about, so you definitely need to get a Saturn, add the Saturn return. Don't worry, it's not a whole different reading. It's just I would just charge $20 more. So it'd be $270 plus the fees. So like what? I think I'll get $11, $10, something like that. Because your Saturn return is literally like right around the corner. Where is Saturn? How close is it? It's like really, really soon. Yeah, Saturn's at 4 Pisces yours right now, and your Saturn is 11 Pisces. So coming. One could even say it's started. So yeah, definitely add that. 1,000% add that. The whole chart you pull up for the Saturn return, you learn a lot about that. Especially Saturn in the fourth house. But okay. So yeah, and Mars square Saturn, like it can like make lots of frustrations in like the first 30, for the Saturn return. Lots of hard grit determination is needed for your efforts. Like it makes someone just have to work really hard and they take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, like fucking universe, what the fuck. But after the Saturn return, it eases, and so many of the most successful people I've ever worked with have Mars square Saturn. Yeah, or Mars conjunct Saturn. But yeah, like overall, like there's a strong drive towards relationships. That's the being on this, and it also makes you like really want to work hard to make relationships work. But then when you're in relationships, you like to be very independent within them, and you need a lot of space, right? Because like you can't be in a relationship that's gonna push you away from your North Node journey, right? So there has to be kind of, maybe you can look at my post that was a few posts ago called something like the Aquarian relationship, my idea of like an alternate type of relationship, which is the one I have. So it may appeal to you, but we'll see. So yeah. But also it's really, really good for working with clients, and because a dedication to relationships and working on yourself, making things work. But it's important to like with the Neptune, it can kind of cloud your judgment unless you have like a very sound understanding of who you are. It can make relationships difficult because you can not value yourself enough, right? Second house, Neptune on its own is literally like unrealistic like assessment of your self-worth. So it's like a need to kind of like really dive into spiritual values, and like with the Taurus South node, like the balance between like monetary and spiritual values. because with Uranus there too, it can make like money go up and down, up and down, up and down, which can create minimalists. But you know, it's almost like money's here to teach you lessons, right? Of like kind of the real one that, you know, like the real metaphysical value. And it's really good for like being very creative, like with money making schemes. But you have to watch out for like spending too much. And well, with that said, you do have, you know, Venus in conservative Virgo, but yeah. It squares Mars, yeah. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Eighth house, you know, is also very, very deeply just like very intense, like with love, like very like two souls becoming one. Your relationships will be very, very faded as well, and there'll be pain that you go through, but it's ultimately like here to make you a healer. It's here to you know, really facilitate that process, even though it might have, you know, had some very difficult occurrences in relationships. So which direction do I want to go? Yeah, so why not? So Venus, okay, so Venus in Virgo conjunct Chiron. So what can happen here, right, is that because of that Uranian, Neptunian kind of, and just real depth to you, you might have found yourself uh kind of doubt, like growing up kind of doubting your own, maybe not your own intelligence, but like your own way of thinking. Um and there's like a strong link between like your emotions and your physical health, right? And there can be like a fear of emotions, right? And that goes with like the air moon, the Libra moon, which can create like a kind of aloofness and distance from emotions. Um, so, you know, health, healing, all those things are really important to you. And being of service, being a healer. It's like Venus with Chiron is like you're meant to be a healer. It's in the 10th house of Dharma. So there you go. Now with that said, Venus in Virgo, you know, they sometimes are too idealistic in terms of like wanting the perfect partner, and no one's ever good enough. That can be, you know, a tendency. And the square with Mars can create some impatience, um, and with yourself and with others. So there's a real need to kind of ground the energy. But also it's like it's very sexual, right? And sexuality is like something that is prominent here because eighth house is very sexual and it wants to break taboos and stuff like that. Now, Venus luckily has a beautiful sextile Jupiter. So that's someone, and the cat just brought me a toy to throw. Go ahead, play fetch with her. Able, you know, Venus and Jupiter in a nice aspect. It's amazing. You can like really set goals and reach them. It's good for popularity. And yeah, I mean, it's like the two benefits and aspect, amazing. Now, also Jupiter would be sextile in Chiron, so that would give you a lot of luck and expansion when you're healing, heading towards that healer kind of life path. Lots of the right people, the right circumstances will just happen, right? And SPICA moon brings lots of luck. But yeah, like Virgo Venus, you know, they like things. So that's kind of like the kind of clash, right? Is that on one hand, there's this real need for, you know, Libra moon. Sometimes you have to watch out for codependency, and relying too much on others and relationships make you happy. But then at the same time, um, the Virgo Venus is all about stability and creating relationships that have like a real practical basis, not wasting time with any BS, that kind of stuff, right? Now, the tough, tough aspect is the opposition with Saturn in Venus. So Saturn, so this is another indication of why relationships would probably be an area where you get a lot of clues into the work that needs to be done, because Saturn in the fourth house can speak to, you know, a childhood where you felt restricted, which could also like give, you know, make sense of like the Virgo Chiron, right? Mercury Chiron, like doubting your own thought process, thinking there's something wrong with it, but really you're just ahead of your time, just an outside the box thinker. I get a lot of clients like that. And you know, basically there's with Saturn in the fourth house, you know, a lot of people with that they don't feel supported. They didn't feel supported, excuse me, early in life. So they don't feel like they got that like firm footing to move forward in life, but then they build through hard work, like I was saying before, like a really solid foundation. And yeah, but it's tough to have there. And then Placidus, I'm whole sign, but Placidus would be third house, which could create issues with, which would make sense, with communication early on, feeling shy early on, and with maybe like issues with siblings if you have them potentially. Um, Now, um, no. So the groups of people, friends, all that that you also, I have to say that, you know, that you like, friends are super important to you. There's emotional need to have them, which kind of goes to that sun moon square. Eighth house sun wants to be more alone, but Libra moon, 11th house, like wants, you know, very social. And there's a need for really like finding um like the tribe people that you really align with and can help you on this spiritual journey. Um, but you have to watch out for kind of people pleasing and putting other people before you, all that stuff. And it can be hard when you have Saturn opposite Venus, because Venus, it can definitely make it so you don't experience like you know, the best relationships until after the Saturn turn, or the Saturn turn might bring one. Um, but it can create lots of like kind of loneliness, and lots of difficulty to form loving relationships, right? Um, so it can there can be feelings of like unworthiness, inadequacy, whatever, right? Something like once again like potentially taking on like guilt and negative emotions from the mother. And with the Uranus energy, just maybe just feeling like very rebellious and different, black sheep kind of energy, right? So yeah, a lot of times with that, like the, you know, one or both parents like kind of lack like the parenting skills needed. Because like you know, like in extreme cases there's like abuse. Um, but you know, you have to teach yourself about how to value yourself, and about how to value money and all that, right? But there often there's like an early conditioning that led one with this to believe that they you know, don't deserve love, and that they deserve to be like sad, lonely, all that stuff, right? And it's very, very karmic. um so it's you know, you're here to get past that, right? So it's really about like kind of self-love, you know, really, really looking at yourself, doing all the healing, looking at the depths, um and you know, there's a lot of times there's like an inferiority complex with this also. But a lot of forgiveness needs to happen. Anyone that you have like a negative energy towards, like just forgiving, it's like your life restarts now at the Saturn return. Your life really starts. Self-pity is also one that's common there. So yeah, really, really like looking at those self-limiting beliefs, writing them down, learning to really, really, like you use mantras, just to reprogram your brain, whatever, affirmations, and just pushing yourself to share more, be vulnerable, all that. So yeah. Just convincing yourself that you deserve love, you deserve success. You put in so much hard work, right? And like leaning into like manifestation, right? So you see how all this is linked to deepening your spirituality and your spiritual relationship with yourself, and how it's so important to have the right people and the right sort of like environment, all that around you. Venus, Saturn can definitely be linked to depression, but it's all about taking responsibility, hard work, patience, and just knowing that like right now you're Saturn return, and it's gonna get a lot better. It's probably already gotten better. And overall, like, with age comes like a lot of satisfaction. And Venus and Saturn in synastry and just in astrology in general once integrated, creates relationships that can have the glue Saturn to last. So lots of commitment, very loyal. So yeah. I'm not saying you need a partner that's like super spiritual, but like you'll know intuitively, using that, these intuitive gifts you have, if someone's good for you or not, right? Are they, but they should at least be open to your way of thinking, and curious, and encouraging, So, but like, once again, so much fate. So, with that said, um, like there is like a kind of like a childlike innocence with like the Chiron Venus in relationships that can kind of make one like energy vampires can kind of come through. There can be lots of fear of commitment because of that opposition with Saturn. Fear of rejection that can make one just want to like shut off. Cancer is crawling back in the shell and hiding once they've been hurt. So the deep healing is really what gives you that wisdom, and then pushing the people aside that are no longer useful, which goes back to the T square and how it's solved by that fire assertiveness action. Being a little bit selfish is okay once in a while. And yeah, and then after that, relationships become an area of healing, but there's lots of illusions that you have to get past before. So Mercury, very interesting, is really, really beautifully aspected. It has that nice little sextile to Venus. So that actually helps out a lot of that ability to be able to kind of like enjoy talking with people, and being able to put people at ease. So that's nice. And just having a very soothing, healing voice. Then Mercury trine Jupiter, which creates that little mini grand trine I was talking about. You're able to, it just makes your mind very, very big picture, philosophical, And as a Sag rising, you know, life is like a big adventure, right? You're meant to kind of be adventurous and to experience a lot, travel, different cultures, different ideas, different philosophies. No, I know that's me. So yeah, just being able to like really see the big picture and talk to people from all walks of life. And yeah, being able to like really uplift people with your ideas. But that comes from that alone time, from the 12th house. Where's your little toy, Esme? Where's your little toy? Did you bring it here? I can't see it. Where's your toy, Esme? Get your toy, Esme. Don't give me that old baby look. Get your toy. Get your toy. Get your toy. She dropped it here. No, this cat's thinking. So that's that. Now also Mercury's conjunct Ceres, exact degree. So it's very close in Cancer, right? So Ceres, so basically that's just like beautiful because you're able to really, really heal people through your speech. I've said that twice, right? And it creates kind of like the natural born speaker. So obviously, there's things that have to get, you know, overcome before that, but it gives someone like kind of the right words, the right timing, all that stuff. So it can create like a brilliant speaker and healer, right? And the rule of the nurturer will come very, very easily, very easily. So yeah, I think the theme around that one is just like being able to find the right words and be very healing with those words, you know. So it could be like artistic or, you know, also with listening, right? And like really being able to sense um you know, what someone else needs in that moment to heal, which is just a blessing, right? And being able with that Venus Mercury to like really deliver in a very gentle manner, and the fact that it's in Cancer, and you know, like definitely can make someone you know, the Mercury in Cancer in the eighth, you know, your mind wants to probe deep, deep, deep into like the meaning of life, like it's shown so many times in your chart. Um, anything you know, beneath the superficial, and Mercury in Cancer, you know, your speech and your thoughts and all that, everything related to that is very, very linked to your emotions, right? You speak from your heart. And yeah, able to like kind of, so that helps out some of the things I'm talking about, right? To be able to like communicate, like the more you can communicate your emotions, the better. The Mercury is nicely aspected. So then Mars. So you have another T square. This one has Mars, Venus, and Saturn. So Mars at the apex, we already talked about. So Mars square Saturn is the last of the hard aspects. And also you have Sun trine Pluto, so that gives one major determination. Well, actually, you have Chiron square Mars and Chiron. Is that, yeah? And because it's with Venus and Chiron square Saturn. So, or Mars square Saturn. So Mars square Saturn, I talk about that. It's just like, you know, wanting to push forward and just the need to like have that like controlled energy, and you know, being able to achieve like great success from that. Um, so the T square, it shoots out in Sagittarius. And it's actually a grand. It's actually a grand. Wait, yeah. So it's actually not a T-square because it's the Descendant. The Descendant is not a planet. So yeah, it would shoot out once again in fire. So you know, it is really like kind of saying how like the key to everything, which we've seen twice, is through you like really leaning in to that Sag, that Antares, that fearlessness, right? Because it's a grand cross, but um yeah, I mean it's very dynamic, gives lots of power, willpower, but it can make it kind of hard to understand like what relaxation, self-satisfaction, like what those mean, right? That there's so much energy. It's like like the batteries never run out, kind of, right? So it gives lots of toughness, and there's lots of endurance, lots of achievement, but sometimes taking life too seriously, right? And ideas being too fixed. So there's a need to kind of have like an open mind, which Sagittarius is all about, the open mind, right? Exploring all possibilities. But overall, when it's related to like love, like this one it's about kind of, I don't want to say putting yourself first, but um, it's about, yeah, relationships are important, but your development, like you can't be like, you need to be the best version of yourself before you can be that for anyone else, right? So um they all kind of play off each other, but um even like ascendant square. So yeah, the ascendant is squaring Venus, right? So that is difficult because that can make someone feel like they're not beautiful. And Mars is opposing it, obviously, so Mars setting. So um, they're and then in the square with Saturn. I mean, all those can really make, like, it's important for you to feel beautiful, for you to feel like even if you have to do like extra things, like to truly like you know whatever it takes to really make you feel good in your own skin. That's why I think things like yoga, um sports, whatever, um anything that makes you feel more beautiful is really like the key. So then Mars square Chiron creates difficulty with being assertive, right? um because there's like a fear that like your demands will be met with anger. And there's just like, once again, like everything in your chart, like a strong need to just develop that self-worth that goes all the way back to your once again, everything goes back to the North Node, that 12th house, that deep dark night of the soul, shadow work. So also it can, Chiron is about hidden talents, so it can really uncover a lot of those, the Venus and the Mars. So that's interesting. So then you have Jupiter trine Saturn. That kind of creates like a nice blend of enthusiasm and self-control. So between like not being like too overly restricted, but not too overly expansive. Um, so that actually like is really, really good for like the whole context of your chart, right? Isn't it? So yeah. Um, So la, la, la. So it could be issues. So the important thing for you is to have a very organized daily life. It's good you have your south node there, but Black and Lilith, there could be issues with that. But just like, making your bed, having a routine that really speaks to your spiritual, physical, emotional, every psychological well-being is like so important. So important. And then more about love, your Juno's conjunct your moon. So, you and it's in Libra. Juno is like your kind of ideal mate. So there needs to be like a level of peace, right? Um, so having like close emotional bonds super important to you. And like equality is super important in any kind of personal union and relationship. And yeah, it kind of enables you to like kind of meet your own emotional needs through your connections with others. And it's another really good one for being a healer. And yeah, Juno on its own, in 11th and in Libra, like you want you know a mate with like where there is that peace, that there's that equality, there's not that power struggle, but then at the same time there's this real emotional connection and healing, and also shared kind of humanitarian kind of ideals important. Um, so yeah, and then midheaven being in Virgo, I think with that one, it's like, you really want to give back. You want to be of service. Um, Venus ruling the midheaven, um, in the 10th with Chiron, it's like someone who's, I won't say you're meant to be anything. You can be many, many things, but in whatever you do, there is going to be a level of healing. This is like a classic chart of someone who's meant to go through shit, but that makes them an amazing healer. So let's see here. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. Yeah, like part of fortune, like in Pisces in the fourth, it's literally like saying everything I've been saying, that you are at your flow state, at your grace, like kind of place of joy when you have this, real grounded, kind of like spiritual relationship with yourself, and just in general, right? When you've taken that spiritual route. Um, and spiritual unity is what gives you the greatest joy. So how you can kind of like contribute to humanity is really like opening up all the doors. And fourth house part of fortune also is about new beginnings, and being able to detach from worldly expectations or expectations that others have of you. Yeah. So lastly, there's the fact that the sun moon midpoint is on Chiron. So like literally like that's like amazing. It's just basically saying that the coming together of your sun, your moon is through that Chiron, which is the healer, and finding a lot of times it's like you find, and it can be like in the Saturn return period where everything gets reset, right? Like there's a lot more free will. at play. You know, talents from past lives or talents just in general, right? Healing talents. And I think that will give you so much fulfillment. So then you have Aldebaran. So Aldebaran, you know, it's on the Descendants. You have two royal stars, including SPICA, which isn't a real star, but might as well be. So you have like if you say that there's four royal stars plus SPICA, you know, having 3 out of the 5 is fucking crazy. Aldebaran is a really fortunate one. And yeah, I mean, basically on the Descendants, you know, it would definitely give one a certain amount of it also just gives like lots of luck, you know, and kind of like an illustrious life and lots of resources and a lot of prosperity comes through you know, around middle age or through marriage, right? Because it's the Descendant. So anyways, how long did I go? 2 hours again. So yeah, that was beautiful. So much in your chart. So we definitely have a lot to talk about, but look forward to it. And I mean, wow, what a fucking chart. Like, I'm not just saying that. Um, beautiful I see in Pisces too. So just like, yeah, you know, so much of so much of that Taurus to Scorpio journey is highlighted. So thank you so much, and hopefully we can you know, add the Saturn return in current astrology. It's been my pleasure. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.